Hello all, let's move for the second position of the masterclass Queen versus Rook Endgame. This is lesson number 2. We will study here the diagonal position. A very simple position to recognize. We have the king one square away from one of the corners of the board, and all the other pieces are connected on a diagonal. This is the diagonal position. Normally, this position with the best defense ends up in the Philidor position, and as soon as we reach the Philidor position, we can apply the technique we learned in lesson 1 to finish the game and bring the win home. Uh, Here, it's important to understand that if it's black to move, black is in zugzag, and white will be having a easier technique to win. But if it's white to move, then we need to be a bit more aware of the possibilities, so we can also bring this to a Philidor position or win it immediately. So let's start first with a simple one that it's black to move. So black to move, let's start with the king possibility. If the king moves to c8, then the technique is very simple. And we need to remember this one is the most important probably we need to remember on the diagonal technique. That we move the queen and are now threatening, double threatening to take the rook or giving checkmate on a8. Nothing that black can do. If, for example, black tries to check our king, we just move in front of the other king and mate is almost unavoidable or losing the rook. So this doesn't help. If the king moves, of course we take the rook immediately and mate in the next move. So what else can black do? Uh, Try to hide the rook away. If the rook goes any of this, even this one that we could take the rook. If the rook goes to any other of these ones, we simply give checkmate. So if the rook moves back here, we simply use this simple technique check. Only possibility for black is to protect with the rook, check, king moves and checkmate. So basically, if we are here and the king moves here, we need to remember to double threat the enemy position. So let's get back. Now, what happens if the king, of course, if the king goes away from the rook, we take the rook. So that's not a thing to, to really analyze. If the king goes the other side, then we simply check the king. If the king moves away from the rook, we take the rook, of course. The king goes here and we reach the same double threat position, and so it's easy to understand that having reached here, the situation is not good for black. So the king can't move, otherwise we will have the double threat position. So the rook needs to move. Of course, the expected position that we want to achieve, and normally the best defense, is to move the rook here to b7. And once the rook moves, we give a discover check. The king needs to go to hide, and then we give a check. The king moves, and we reach the Philidor position. If you notice the the position, it's exactly like lesson number 1. So this is if the rook goes to b7, which is the best defense. But what else can the rook do? If the rook goes to a7, it's very easy. Another discovery check. If the king goes either way, I will have checkmate there. For example, if he goes here, checkmate there. So not also a possibility. Let's examine the other possibilities on the same row. Let's see, for example, these two white squares. So if the rook goes here, it's very easy. So we give a fork and we win the rook. So not also a possibility to analyze. If the rook goes here, this is very interesting because we will achieve a sub position from the Philidor with discovered check. Now the king needs to move away. Of course, if it goes to c8, then we have mate on e8, so no deal. So the king needs to move to the other side of the board, like for example, try this one. And if you notice, this is one of the positions we achieve from the Philidor position. So the technique is simple, check. The rook can't protect because otherwise the queen gives mate in h8. So the king needs to go back and then we have a new fork catching the rook. So every possibilities for the rook in the same 7 file, 7 rank, is not possible. So the rook can either way in a different place. For example, here. Here we have many possibilities to win, but probably one of the easiest is just this one, check, king moves, and then take the rook, and then mate will be fast. So if the rook goes to any other of these ones, let's go, check, and so we have another fork winning the rook, so another easy one. If we go to the same color, so we just have two to see, we give another fork, and so last but not the least, if the rook goes to a white square, we simply take the king away, check, the king moves, so we give another fork. If the king moves to a8, again another fork, so not easy for black here. And if the king goes to this place, we will give let me think just a bit if there is another. No, we don't need to waste time. We just need to play the same until we reach another fork. Okay, so let's get back to the initial position. So we saw that if the king moves, it's very important to remember this double threat. And if the rook moves for the best position, that it's this one, we will reach the Philidor position by these moves. If the rook moves any other place, it will be taken or we will give checkmate. So first part, it's done. How to win the diagonal position when black is in zigzag. Let's go now for the same position, but with white to move. So white to move, there's only one move that interests white. It's to keep the diagonal threats and move just one square away from diagonal. What we expect to reach here is a triangulation made this way, check, then goes back, and by triangulate, now it's black to play, and we are in the starting study of this lesson. So if the king moves for this side, we got the triangulation. The best position is possible. If he goes to diagonal, we reach the triangulation, but the king can move away for here, and if you remember well, we play here and we have the double threat again. So the king can't move. If the king goes for the other side, if the king goes for the other side, like here, so we give a check, all in situation, and again the double threat situation that we are already getting familiar with. So the rook needs to move away. So again, if the rook goes to the best defense possible, that it's b7, then we simply check, the king goes, we check again, and we reach the Philidor position. So you see, everything is connected. We start with studying by the Philidor position, and now we are understanding how to get from a diagonal position into the Philidor. So this move of the rook doesn't work, but let's have fun and analyze every other move. Uh, if the rook goes back, for example, a discovered check, the only way for the king to keep contact with the rook is here, but then check and then we take the rook. So also not possible. The rook can't go for any of these squares in the same file. So let's examine, for example, the same file just drops into another fork, and let's see if you can reach it here. Okay, how can we get the rook? It's easy. We give a discover check again. If the king goes for any of these places, I have a easy fork here. For example, if he goes here, check, forking the king and the rook. So I will win the rook. And if he goes to a7, I have another fork here. So getting the rook after the king moves. So this is done. So let's move on for others. If it goes for this side, it's very similar when it was black to move. We give a discover check. Anywhere the king goes, I will checkmate it on f8. So also not possible. For the other side, of course, it can't go here. So again, we have two options. The first one is again very easy. So another fork. And the third one, not as fast as in the sub position of Philidor as we had before, but it will be fast also. So if the king moves, discover check. If the king moves here, I have a checkmate there. So the king needs to go to the A file. If it goes, for example, here, I will just check it, and then I will zigzag it. Notice that I am now threatening there, so the king needs to go here. Check, it goes back again, and now I can reach my final fork on the king and winning the rook. So again, coming back to the first position, if it's black to move, we already know from the starting of the lesson how to do it. If it's white, we want to reach a triangulation, and when the king moves, we get again the triangulation, and it's black to move, and we can apply every technique. So I hope you have enjoyed another lesson. I hope you continue to watch the master class, and I see you in more videos. See you.